I 27M, work as an IT project manager at a tech company in Boston. Until recently, I was engaged to Lydia, 26F, someone I genuinely thought I'd spend the rest of my life with. We met 5 years ago at a neighborhood cookout through mutual friends. It wasn't just her incredible smile or quick wit that drew me in, it was the way she could light up any room with her presence. She had this infectious laugh and always seemed to know exactly what to say to make people feel comfortable. Our first date was at this little Italian restaurant downtown. She told stories about her family's restaurant business, and I shared memories about my mom teaching me to cook. Everything just clicked. Over the next few years, our relationship grew naturally. My mom Patricia adored her initially, and Lydia seemed respectful enough. When I proposed a year ago at the same restaurant where we had our first date, it felt like the perfect next step. But I wasn't just marrying Lydia, I was, in a way, marrying into her family. Her parents, Jack, 54M, and Donna, 52F, are the kind of people who love being the center of attention. They're loud, opinionated, and always seem to have a comment about everything. At first, I thought it was just their personality, but over time, I started seeing how their sense of entitlement bled into everything they did. Before I dive into what went down, let me tell you about my mom. Patricia was, without a doubt, the most remarkable person I've ever known. We lost her 2 years ago after a brutal 3-year battle with cancer. Watching her fight that disease while still finding ways to put others first was both inspiring and heartbreaking. She taught me everything I know about kindness, generosity, and standing up for what's right. What makes this story particularly painful is how much my mom did for Lydia's family. Years ago, when their restaurant was on the verge of bankruptcy during the economic downturn, my mom co-signed a loan to help them out. No one else would take that risk, but she believed in them. She spent countless hours helping them organize their finances, create a business plan, and turn things around. She'd stay up late going through their books, making spreadsheets, and researching ways to make their business more profitable. That wasn't all. When their restaurant's industrial oven broke down suddenly during their busiest season, they didn't have the money to replace it. Without hesitation, my mom paid for a new one outright. We're talking about $15,000. She never asked for that money back, even when she could have used it for her own medical bills later. She always said, "Money comes and goes, but helping others lasts forever." Then there was Lydia's older brother Ryan, 29M. He was struggling to finish his last semester of college because he couldn't afford the tuition. My mom stepped in and covered it, nearly $12,000, saying, "Education is something no one can take away from you." She didn't just write a check, she helped him create a study schedule, watched his kids so he could focus on his finals, and even proofread his papers late into the night despite her own exhaustion from chemotherapy. When my mom passed away, Lydia was there for me, or at least I thought she was. Looking back, I realize her support was superficial at best. She'd say things like, "You need to move on," or, "Your mom wouldn't want you to be stuck in grief." Maybe there was some truth to that, but it felt dismissive rather than comforting. During the funeral, she kept checking her phone and whispered to me that we shouldn't stay too long at the reception because she had dinner plans with friends. As our wedding approached, the red flags became impossible to ignore. Lydia would brush off any mention of including a small tribute to my mom during the ceremony. "Isn't that going to make people sad? Weddings are supposed to be happy," she'd say. When I suggested using my mom's favorite flowers in the centerpieces, she rolled her eyes and said, "Let's keep things modern and sophisticated." Then there were the comments from Jack and Donna. They had this way of talking down to me, like they thought Lydia was marrying beneath her. Jack once joked about how Lydia was upgrading her life by marrying someone from a simpler background. Donna would say things like, "Well, we all make sacrifices for love," as if Lydia was doing me a favor by agreeing to marry me. The planning process became increasingly tense. Every decision turned into a power struggle, with Jack and Donna insisting on having the final say because they were contributing significantly to the wedding budget. They conveniently forgot that my mom's help had saved their business and, by extension, made their current financial stability possible. A week before the rehearsal dinner, there was an incident that should have been my wake-up call. We were at her parents' house finalizing some wedding details when Donna started criticizing my mom's taste in everything from food to fashion. Patricia had interesting choices, she said with a smirk. But this is Lydia's day, so let's keep things elegant. Lydia just kept scrolling through her phone like nothing was wrong. Then came the rehearsal dinner. Jack and Donna insisted on hosting it at an upscale restaurant they had connections with. From the start, it felt less like a celebration of our upcoming marriage and more like a showcase of their social status. The guest list was heavily skewed toward their side. Out of 50 people, only 4 were from my family. When I questioned this, Lydia dismissed my concerns. Michael, your family's small. My parents had to fill the room somehow. It's not a big deal. The dinner itself was uncomfortable. Jack and Donna worked the room like politicians at a fundraiser, making sure everyone knew how generous they were being. They kept bringing up the restaurant's prestigious reputation and how lucky we were that they could secure it. I sat there feeling more like a prop in their show than the groom-to-be. After the main course, Jack stood up to give his speech. He grabbed the microphone like he was giving a keynote address at a business conference. Welcome, everyone, he began, his voice dripping with artificial warmth. Tonight is about celebrating the union of our precious Lydia and, of course, Michael. The pause before my name wasn't subtle. What followed was 20 minutes of thinly veiled insults wrapped in humor. He talked about how Lydia had always been the star of the family, how she'd always known what she wanted in life. And now she's marrying someone who'll keep her grounded, he said with a smirk that made several guests chuckle uncomfortably. Donna's speech wasn't any better. She started with the usual platitudes about love and family, then shifted to backhanded compliments about me. It's wonderful how Lydia has helped Michael grow, she said. She's such a patient teacher. The implication that I needed to be taught how to fit into their world made my blood boil. But the real breaking point came when Jack took the mic again for what he called one final tribute. He raised his glass and said, I want to acknowledge someone who's no longer with us but played a big role in shaping who Michael is, his mom, Patricia. My heart stopped for a moment, hoping against hope that he might actually say something respectful. Instead, he launched into what he clearly thought was a comedic routine about my mom's quirks. Patricia was one of a kind, he said, emphasizing one of a kind like it was a punchline. She had quite the habit of inserting herself into situations, didn't she? Always had an opinion about how things should be done. Donna chimed in from her seat, oh, she definitely had strong opinions. Remember how she always insisted on helping us even when we didn't ask? They both laughed like it was the funniest thing they'd ever heard. I felt my face burning as Jack continued. But in all seriousness, he said, though his tone was anything but serious, Patricia was a generous woman. She helped us out a lot. Sometimes too much, if I'm being honest. He actually winked at the crowd. We'll be sure to keep her spirit alive at the wedding. Let's just hope Michael doesn't inherit her enthusiasm for taking charge, though. We wouldn't want him meddling too much, right? That was it. I couldn't take any more. I stood up, my chair scraping loudly against the floor. The room fell silent. Through the rushing in my ears, I could hear Lydia's embarrassed whisper, Michael, sit down. You're making a scene. But I was done being silent. Are you serious right now? I said, my voice low but shaking with anger. Let me get this straight. You spend the entire night taking cheap shots at my mom, the woman who helped your family when no one else would, and now you're acting like it was just a joke? Jack tried to wave it off. Relax, Michael. You're overreacting. It was all in good fun. Good fun? I shot back. You called her meddling. You said she was too much. You mocked her generosity like it was some kind of character flaw. The only reason you can even afford to host this dinner is because of her help. Lydia tugged at my sleeve, hissing, Michael, stop it. Let's talk about this outside. No, I said firmly. I'm done talking. This wedding is off. I looked directly at her. I won't spend my life with someone who can't respect my mother's memory or stand up for what's right. The silence in the room was deafening as I walked out, head held high despite my shaking hands. Outside, my dad and sister quickly caught up with me. Dad put his hand on my shoulder and simply said, You did the right thing, son. Your mom would be proud. I nodded, fighting back tears. But this isn't where the story ends. What happened in the days that followed, including Lydia's reaction and a discovery about one of my mom's precious possessions, would only confirm that I'd made the right decision. Update 1. The morning after I walked out of the rehearsal dinner, I woke up to my phone nearly exploding with notifications. 127 unread messages, 43 missed calls, and countless social media notifications. I was trending in our local community groups, with Lydia's extended family already spinning their version of events. Scrolling through the messages was like watching a psychological warfare campaign unfold. They ranged from outright aggressive to manipulatively sweet. Here's a small sample of what I received. From Lydia: I can't believe you embarrassed me like this. Please call me. We can fix this. From Jack: you'll regret making a scene. Nobody disrespects my family like that. From Donna: after everything we've done for you, this is how you repay us? What struck me most was how they'd completely twisted the narrative. According to their social media posts, I had viciously attacked their family during a lovely tribute to my mother. Some of their friends were even claiming I was mentally unstable due to unresolved grief. What really got under my skin was their attempt to rewrite history about my mom's help. In their social media version, they had graciously allowed my mother to feel useful by helping with their business. They painted her generosity as some kind of privilege they bestowed upon her. Reading those posts made my blood boil. Around noon, my sister called to warn me that Lydia was heading to my apartment. She's on a mission, my sister said. Ryan's wife just texted me. Apparently, Lydia's been at her parents' house all morning, strategizing how to fix this PR nightmare. Those were her exact words. Sure enough, 20 minutes later, Lydia showed up at my door. She'd clearly put effort into her appearance, hair perfectly styled, makeup done, wearing the dress I'd once mentioned was my favorite. It was like she was performing for an invisible audience. Michael, she said softly, her voice trembling just enough to seem vulnerable. Can we please talk? I've been up all night thinking about everything. I let her in, more out of curiosity than anything else. She immediately launched into what felt like a rehearsed speech about how she'd failed to appreciate the significance of my mother's memory and how she wanted to make things right. But something felt off about her delivery. We can postpone the wedding, she suggested, perching on the edge of my couch. Take some time to work through this. Maybe we could even do a special tribute to your mom at the ceremony? Something elegant and tasteful? That's when it hit me, she wasn't actually sorry about what happened. She was sorry about how it made her look. I couldn't help but notice how she kept glancing at her phone, which kept buzzing with notifications. Later, I found out she was live updating her friends about our reconciliation talk. You still don't get it, do you? I said, watching her carefully curated, concerned expression. This isn't about the wedding ceremony or some tasteful tribute. This is about respect, respect for my mom, for her memory, and for everything she did for your family. Lydia's facade cracked slightly. But that's what I'm trying to say. We can make it all about respecting your mom's memory. Dad even suggested we could name one of the reception tables after her, or maybe do a special toast. A special toast? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Like the special tribute your dad gave at the rehearsal dinner? That's when things got ugly. Lydia's carefully constructed mask slipped completely. God, Michael, why can't you just let things go, she snapped. So my parents made a few jokes. They were trying to lighten the mood. You're always so serious about everything. It's like we have to walk on eggshells around you whenever your mom comes up. Walk on eggshells? I was stunned. Your family mocked the woman who saved your parents' business, who put your brother through college. And you think I'm being too sensitive? Yes, she practically shouted. Yes, I do. My parents lost their restaurant's reputation because of your little scene. Do you know how many cancellations they've had since last night? People are saying they're insensitive and ungrateful on social media. Is that what your mom would have wanted? That last comment made something snap inside me. Using my mom as emotional leverage was the last straw. Actually, I said, keeping my voice steady, my mom would have wanted me to stand up for what's right. She would have wanted me to recognize when people are taking advantage of kindness and calling it weakness. Just then, my phone buzzed with a notification. Someone had sent me a screen recording of Donna's latest social media post, where she was sharing the real story about my mom's involvement in their business. According to her post, my mom had insisted on interfering and practically forced them to accept her help, making them feel indebted and uncomfortable. I showed the post to Lydia. Is this what you mean by fixing things? By letting your mother completely rewrite history? Lydia glanced at the post and had the audacity to say, well, Mom's not entirely wrong. Your mother did kind of force herself into our family business. I mean, who just offers to co-sign a loan like that? Normal people don't do that. I stood up and walked to the door, opening it. I think you should leave. Michael, you're being ridiculous, she protested. This is exactly what I mean about you being oversensitive. We need to handle this maturely. Maturely? I couldn't help but laugh. Like how your parents maturely mocked my dead mother. Or how you're maturely trying to gaslight me about everything she did for your family? As she gathered her things, she tried one last manipulation tactic. You know, she said, pausing at the door, if you end things like this, you'll regret it. My family has a lot of connections in the tech industry. Word gets around about difficult people. I looked her straight in the eye. Are you seriously threatening my career right now? Because your family made fun of my dead mother and I called them out on it? She backpedaled quickly. That's not what I meant. I'm just saying actions have consequences, Michael. You should think about your future. I am thinking about my future, I replied. And I'm realizing it's much brighter without you and your family in it. After she left, I spent the next few hours documenting everything, screenshots of their social media posts, messages, and a detailed account of what had happened at the rehearsal dinner. Something told me I might need these records. I was right. What happened next, including a shocking discovery about one of my mom's most precious possessions, would prove that ending this relationship wasn't just the right choice, it was the only choice. Update 2, the past week has been transformative in ways I never expected. While dealing with the wedding aftermath, I threw myself into my IT project management work, focusing especially on our company's new cloud migration initiative. The stress of recent events could have broken me, but instead, I channeled that energy into becoming even more detail-oriented and empathetic with my team members, skills my mom always emphasized. My dedication didn't go unnoticed. Yesterday, my CEO called me into his office after our successful project completion. You know, Michael, he said, I've been watching how you've handled yourself these past weeks. Managing a complex project while dealing with personal crisis, that shows real character. Then came the surprise, a promotion to senior program manager and an offer to lead our new Seattle division. We need someone who can balance technical skills with genuine people management, he explained. Your mother clearly raised someone with extraordinary resilience. That moment was bittersweet. Mom would have loved hearing about this promotion. She always said tough times show us who we really are. It's easy to be kind when everything's going well, she'd tell me. The real test is staying true to yourself when things get hard. But life has a way of testing us just when we think we're finding our footing. Saturday afternoon, I was finally organizing my apartment, part of my Fresh Start initiative inspired by Mom's belief that our space reflects our mental state. As I sorted through her keepsake box, my heart stopped. The family locket was missing. This wasn't just any piece of jewelry. This locket had been passed down through 5 generations, carrying our family's story within its golden walls. The slightly worn hinge that my great-grandmother had carefully maintained during the Depression. The small dent from when my grandmother protected it during her time working in a World War II munitions factory. The tarnish my mom refused to polish because, as she said, every mark tells a story of love. Inside were 2 precious photos, my great-great-grandmother in her Victorian-era finest, and a picture of Mom holding me as a baby, both of us laughing at something long forgotten. But the locket's most special feature was the secret compartment Mom had shown me before she passed. This isn't just gold and memories, she'd said. It's our family's story of resilience. One day, you'll know the right person to share it with. While searching my apartment, I received an unexpected email. It was from Jennifer, one of the junior developers on my team. "I know you're going through a tough time," she wrote, "but I wanted to tell you how much your mentorship has meant to me. The way you handled the project stress while dealing with personal issues reminded me of what my own mom taught me about grace under pressure." That email gave me strength. Shortly after, I received another message, this time from David, an elderly regular at Lydia's family restaurant. He'd heard about what happened and wanted to share something about my mom. "Your mother wasn't just someone who helped save that restaurant," he wrote. "She created a community there. When my wife passed, your mom noticed I was eating alone every night. She started sitting with me during her bookkeeping visits, sharing stories about grief and healing. She helped me find a senior support group. Today, I lead that same group, helping others through their loss. Your mother's kindness keeps rippling outward." These messages helped center me as I texted Lydia about the locket. "Did you take the gold locket from my mom's keepsake box?" Her response an hour later was telling, "I just borrowed it. I wanted to feel connected to you and your family's history. I was going to give it back after we worked things out." Reading her message, I felt an odd sense of clarity. The anger I'd expected didn't come. Instead, I remembered Mom's words about how understanding others' actions doesn't mean excusing them. These people had shown me exactly who they were, not through their words, but through their actions. On the drive to their house, I listened to the playlist Mom and I made during her chemo sessions. Each song reminded me of her strength, her grace, and most importantly, her ability to maintain dignity even in difficult situations. She would want me to handle this with the same poise. At their door, I was calm and collected, not the angry ex-fiancé they expected. Jack answered, his usual smugness faltering slightly at my composed demeanor. "I'm here for the locket," I said simply. "After this, we can all move forward with our lives." Donna appeared, armed with her practiced manipulation. "Michael, you're being dramatic as usual. Lydia was just trying to preserve family history. If you'd been more understanding about keeping your mother's memory alive." I cut her off, not with anger but with quiet certainty. "That's where you're fundamentally wrong. Family history isn't about possessing objects, it's about honoring the values they represent. My mom taught me that actions speak louder than words, and your actions have spoken volumes." While they went to retrieve the locket, I received an unexpected message from Ryan, Lydia's brother. His words surprised me. "I've been a coward," he wrote. "Your mom paid for my final semester, wrote recommendation letters for my first job, and even babysat my kids during finals week. She changed my life, and I've stood by silently while my parents disrespected her memory. I'm so sorry, Michael. I'm speaking up now, telling them exactly how wrong they've been." Donna returned with the locket, and I immediately noticed something that would have enraged me a week ago, a small price tag residue on the back. They had tried to have it appraised. But instead of confronting them, I felt pity. "You know what's remarkable about this locket?" I said calmly. "The real value isn't in its gold content or antique status. The most precious part is this tiny scratch here." I pointed to a small mark near the clasp. "Mom got this while rushing into a burning building to help evacuate your restaurant staff during that kitchen fire 7 years ago. She never told you it was her who pulled the fire alarm, did she?" The color drained from Donna's face. Jack shifted uncomfortably. Lydia appeared in the hallway, starting her usual, "We can fix this" speech, but stopped when she saw my expression. "I'm moving to Seattle," I told them. "Not to escape, but to build something new. Our company is launching a community support initiative for small businesses in crisis, exactly the kind of program my mom would have championed. They want me to lead it." Just then, my phone buzzed with an email from Emma, the nonprofit director I'd been consulting with about the program. Her organization, which helps struggling family businesses, wanted to partner with us. The first pilot program would be in Seattle, targeting restaurants affected by the economic downturn. "Life has a way of coming full circle," I said, looking at Lydia's family. "Mom helped your restaurant because she believed in second chances. Now I'll be helping other families in similar situations, but with proper business structures and accountability in place." As I turned to leave, Lydia made one last attempt. Michael, please. We grew up together, shared so much. We can work through this. I paused at the door. You know, Lydia, Mom used to say that love isn't about possession, it's about elevation. True love elevates both people to be their best selves. We didn't elevate each other. But I thank you for helping me find my true path. 2 weeks later, I'm writing this from my new apartment in Seattle's Queen Anne neighborhood. The view of the Space Needle against the sunset is spectacular, but what's more amazing is how life has unfolded. The community program is already gaining traction. We've helped 3 family restaurants restructure their businesses successfully. Emma and I meet weekly to discuss program expansion. Yes, there might be something developing there, but we're taking it slow. Mom would approve of the pace. She has the same kind of genuine compassion that Mom had, but more importantly, she challenges me to be better while supporting my growth. The locket now sits in a secure bank vault, though I wear it for special occasions. Last week, I wore it while announcing our new Patricia's Promise initiative, a mentorship program connecting successful business owners with struggling entrepreneurs. Ryan's actually one of our first mentors, using his experience to help others. Jennifer, my team member from the IT project, has relocated to Seattle too. She's helping develop an app that streamlines the application process for small business assistants. Your mom's legacy of helping others lives on through technology, she told me yesterday. I've started volunteering at a local grief support group, not just attending, but sharing Mom's stories of resilience and hope. It's healing in ways I never expected. Last session, an elderly woman said something that brought tears to my eyes. Your mother's kindness didn't end with her passing, it multiplied through you. Mom always said that when one door closes, another opens, but it's up to us to be brave enough to walk through it. Losing what I thought was my future helped me find my true calling. The pain of betrayal led me to build something meaningful. The attempt to dishonor Mom's memory has resulted in her legacy touching even more lives. To everyone who supported me through this journey, thank you. Your messages and stories helped me find strength I didn't know I had. To those facing similar challenges, trust that standing up for what's right, even when it hurts, leads to places better than we could imagine. Mom would be proud of not just what I'm doing, but who I'm becoming. For the first time in a long time, I'm proud too. And to anyone wondering, yes, sometimes the hardest endings lead to the most beautiful beginnings. To those who asked about the secret compartment in the locket, it contained a small note from Mom that I just discovered. Remember, love multiplies when shared, wisdom grows when tested, and strength builds through challenges. Keep moving forward, my son. She was right, as always. I am moving forward, and the view ahead is beautiful.